Now let us look at some of the problems, some special situations and the solutions related to those problems. Breast engorgement and sore nipple are the commonest breastfeeding problems. Breast engorgement occurs because of infrequent feeding, improper attachment, and the treatment for this is more frequent feeding using warm packs or analgesics before feeding, and frequent milk expression and correcting the underlying reasons, mainly promoting more frequent feeding and ensuring that the baby suckles from the areola and not from the nipple. Again, sore nipple is mostly because of improper latching or improper positioning, baby sucking only onto the nipple, or sometimes it can be because of candidal infection. Frequent washing of the nipples after every feed can also lead to sore nipples. And how do we treat it? By applying hind milk or few drops of coconut oil and treating the underlying problems related to position and attachments. The other common problem is inverted nipple. Inverted nipple needs to be differentiated from flat nipple. In flat nipple, when we squeeze the areola, the nipple comes out. But in inverted nipple, when you squeeze the areola, the nipple seeps inside. So a pinch technique or a squeezing the breast or squeezing the areola differentiates a flat nipple from an inverted nipple. So inverted nipple needs to be tackled. It can be treated, and the best method is called inverted syringe technique. In this technique, we use a simple syringe to help in converting an inverted nipple to a true nipple. So what do we do in this? We take a syringe, we cut the nozzle, and we take the plunger out and inserted the plunger from the cut end of the nozzle, and this we use to create suction on the areola and the nipple. So we do a frequent suctioning of the areola with the base of the nipple at least 5 to 8 times a day to promote an inverted become nipple a normal nipple. Now, one common problem we face in breastfeeding is working mothers. Most of the time mothers are apprehensive that when they start work they may not be able to breastfeed, but we can ensure all working mothers can continue to do breastfeeding even when they are working. So how do we help them? Mothers should learn to express breast milk. She should breastfeed frequently and on demand to establish a good milk supply. The more frequently she feeds, the more will be the milk output. And whenever she should completely empty the breast before switching to the other side. And before a few days before returning to work, she can express the milk and then start giving that milk to the baby with a cup or spoon so that the baby can get adjusted from breastfeeding to spoon feeding or a palliative feeding. On joining work, she can breastfeed early in the morning, she can breastfeed before leaving and again after returning for work, and at night she should continue to breastfeed as many times as possible. And if the baby is doing demand feeding, in between if the mother has more milk, she can express out the milk and keep it in the room temperature for 6 to 8 hours, in the refrigerator for 24 to 48 hours. But if she is carrying the baby to the office or to the workplace, she can look for creche facilities in the office space and she can do breastfeeding between the breaks. Milk which is kept in the refrigerator should be thawed only once, and this thawing should be done with warm water. Once the milk comes to the room temperature or slightly warm, that milk can be fed to the baby with a palade or a spoon. Now, since working mothers need to express milk before they start or during the work hours, they should know how to express the milk. And the technique of milk expression includes, the first step is massaging the breast gently towards the nipple. From the base of the breast, the mother massages from the base towards the nipple. She places a thumb and index finger opposite to each other outside the areola on the nipple as shown in the step 2 here. And in step 3, you can see that she is squeezing the areola from back to front. And while she is squeezing, she is giving the support to the breast with her hand, and the breast is supported while the areola is squeezed from back to front. And these 3 steps, massage, holding the breast with her thumb and index finger, and it is the fingers are rotated in all positions so that the milk is coming out from all the alveolar ducts. Breastfeeding twins is another common problem, but if the mother and the babies desire, a mother can definitely breastfeed her twins completely, exclusively. In the initial few weeks, she can breastfeed together using the clutch or football position, and later she can try to comfort herself by breastfeeding the babies one after another. But whenever she does the breastfeeding of the babies one after another, to ensure that she should ensure that each baby sucks from both the breast. If she does breastfeeding of the first baby from one side, for the next feed for that baby she can do the breastfeed from the other side, so that the babies will learn to suck from both the breasts. So inadequate milk supply is a common concern for most of the mothers. Sometimes it can be just a perceived phenomenon, or sometimes it can be a real phenomenon. How do you differentiate a perceived from a real phenomenon? Is just by looking adequacy of breastfeeding, and that is by looking at the weight of the baby. If the baby is gaining weight appropriately, very likely it is a perceived feeling of inadequate milk supply, and this is much more common than a real inadequate milk supply. And what are the reasons for inadequate milk supply? As this means there is defect in rooting, prolactin, oxytocin reflex, or there is a problem in skill such as positioning, rooting, sucking. There could be latching, some problem is there. And what we can do to correct inadequate milk supply is to help in physiology and to help in the skill. So relieve the maternal anxiety, promote back massage, promote frequent feeding, promote nipple stimulation, complete emptying of the breast before she switches from one to other side, correcting the position and latching, ensuring good hydration of the mother, and mother should take a balanced diet, a diet which is rich in protein, carbohydrate, fat, minerals and vitamins, and it should be a balanced diet so that her nutrition and hydration should be good for ensuring optimum breastfeeding for the baby. Very rarely mothers can be advised to give galactagogues. Most of these galactagogues could be home remedies. They could be working as placebos, but sometimes this could be essential to promote breastfeeding, especially for mothers who have complained or who have concerns of inadequate milk output. Back massage is one very important technique for helping the milk output before expression of milk, and you can see in this figure the massage is done on both sides of the spine in a rotatory motion from above downwards. We have seen the difficult situation for the last year, that is in 2020, the COVID-19 outbreak and the pandemic resulted in havoc in the entire world, but it has also resulted in inadequate or suboptimal breastfeeding rates. We have seen that breastfeeding at birth reduced, exclusive breastfeeding rates have come down, and also continued breastfeeding also suffered, but we can continue to do better during these COVID times too. Breastfeeding was not a contraindication for COVID-19 positive mothers. If a mother is COVID-19, she can continue to breastfeeding by following the three principles of social distancing, that is keeping the baby 6 feet away while she is not breastfeeding, by hand sanitization, and by wearing a mask when she is breastfeeding the baby. So hand hygiene, mask are essential while she is breastfeeding the baby, and when she is not breastfeeding the baby kept in the same room but at a distance of 2 meters or 6 feet. So during COVID times also, encouraging and supporting breastfeeding was essential and will continue to remain essential, because this is one very important practice which helps the mother and the baby for lifelong. Some maternal illnesses, there are some concerns. If the mother has HIV, breastfeeding is promoted in both low and middle income countries. In India, breastfeeding should be continued as should be the priority, but if the mother desires not to breastfeed because of her maternal HIV status, in developed countries they give an option of formula feeding, and if formula is advised, the AFAS criteria of formula feeding should be fulfilled. If a mother is hepatitis B or C positive, the mother can breastfeed the baby after she is given vaccine and hepatitis B IV immunoglobulin. This can go simultaneously. The mother can receive vaccine, immunoglobulin, and continue to breastfeed. If the mother has active tuberculosis, during the active phase between the first 2 weeks of ATT, mother can express the milk and give it to the baby, and after the first 2 weeks, once the sputum is negative, or she can continue to breastfeed, and BCG can be given for the baby after stopping chemotherapy. If the mother is CMV positive, in a term healthy baby, mothers can breastfeed, and in the preterm baby, the milk need to be expressed out, pasteurized, and the same mother's milk can be fed to the baby after pasteurization. Some of the perceived or myths are breastfeeding. There is no absolute contraindication for breastfeeding. In situations like this, neonatal jaundice is not a contraindication. In fact, if the baby has jaundice, breastfeeding should be promoted, because inadequate feeding is the reason for jaundice in many situations. Mother has hepatitis B and C. We have seen giving vaccine and immunoglobulin continue to breastfeed. Seropositive CMV, you can continue to breastfeed. And if the mother has on some alcohol or smoking, still she can continue to breastfeed. But we should encourage the mother should wean off from alcohol and smoking. Some drugs are contraindicated while the mother is lactating or breastfeeding. These drugs include amiodarone, antineoplastic agents, chloramphenicol, drugs of abuse, diethylstilbestol, disulfiram, lithium, radioisotopes, tamoxifen. And you can have an entire list of medications which are contraindicated or relative contraindicated, or how do you adjust the doses, how do you adjust the dosing of these drugs when you are giving breastfeeding by looking at a wonderful source called LactMed. So look at LactMed if you have some problems in the drugs with the mothers received, and how do you promote breastfeeding in these conditions. There are some myths and then facts related to breastfeeding. Discarding colostrum is a myth. Colostrum is essential for the infant and should be given as early as possible after birth is a fact. Give sumptuous amount of ghee to the mothers for promoting breastfeeding is a myth. Excess ghee makes the women fat and flabby. Diet should be rich in protein, and green leafy vegetables should be a balanced diet and not just rich in fat. Breastfeeding will cause loss of figure and will cause sagging of breast is a myth. The fact is breastfeeding actually helps in keeping the body in shape. If the mother is ill, then baby should not be breastfeeding is a myth. The fact is if mother can breastfeed, then she must do so. In fact, it protects the infant from illness. Increasing milk intake by mother will yield more milk is a myth. The fact is increasing milk will not increase the milk output, but it is the correct hydration or good hydration of the mother is likely to improve the milk output. Breasts of small size cannot produce adequate quantity of milk is a myth. The fact is size of the breast is not related to fat, whereas milk is formed in the special glands present in sufficient numbers in all women. Thus, all mothers are capable of producing enough milk. Failure to breastfeed first child will yield same result for second child is a myth. The fact is she can successfully breastfeed the second child even though she has not breastfed the first baby. And these are 10 hospital policies for promoting baby-friendly hospital initiatives, 10 steps for successful breastfeeding, and every hospital should ensure these 10 steps to ensure successful breastfeeding and also good bonding between the mother and baby. The first step is related to hospital policies. The second step is improving the staff competency. And the third step is what should be done antenatally to promote breastfeeding. The fourth step is at birth how to promote skin to skin contact and early and exclusive breastfeeding. The fifth step is supporting mothers who are breastfeeding from the family, from the counselors, from the health staff, and from the peers. And the sixth step is supplementing the hospital support to breastfed mothers. The next step is rooming in. The mother should be roomed in or bed in. The baby and the mother should be lying in the same bed and should be lying next to each other. And responsive feeding is what we should all promote. Hospitals should support mother to breastfeed by helping mothers know when their baby is hungry and not limiting breastfeeding timings. So breastfeeding on demand, and mother should learn the hunger cues and the early hunger cues so that she can breastfeed at the appropriate time. And the ninth step is to prevent bottles, teats and pacifier use as much as possible, and should be done in the hospital setting so that they can learn the right lessons right from the time of hospitalization. And the 10th step is to promote breastfeeding policies at the time of discharge. Hospital should support mothers to breastfeed by referring mothers to community resources for breastfeeding support and working with communities to improve breastfeeding support services. So these are the 10 steps all hospitals should follow to improve the breastfeeding rates in the hospital, in the mothers, in the community, and also into the society. To end, breastfeeding is key to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. This is one very, very important intervention to help in improving the outcomes of Sustainable Developmental Goals. So to summarize, breastfeeding and breast milk is the best nutrition for healthy term newborns. Exclusive breastfeeding for first 6 months and continue to breastfeeding for 2 years and beyond should be the norm. We should all ensure to optimize position, latching, rooting, sucking, prolactin and oxytocin reflexes. We should build the confidence of the mother and this is very key to promote successful breastfeeding. And the journey of breastfeeding is not always smooth, but solutions always exist to ensure that breastfeeding is optimized and to ensure that the baby and the mothers have a healthy life in the immediate postpartum, in the infancy, and in the childhood, and also in the adulthood. This is going to be a huge benefit for the mother baby dyad, for the society, and for the country as a whole. Thank you.